Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, worshippers of all ages, welcome to YouTube. My name is SeaRaptor, and today we're bringing you a battle report from the bridge of Tier VIII American cruiser, USS Baltimore. And you've heard me say this in the channel before if you've been here a while, I have been rediscovering the American cruiser line of late, and I've found some ships that I really like. And Baltimore is on the list of ships that I really like. My stream has made me play Buffalo so much lately, I'm even kind of coming around on that ship a little bit. But shh, don't tell them. They'll just make me play it more. Anyways, guys, spawning here on the northwest side here of Shards in my Baltimore. And what you're going to see over the course of this game, one of the reasons I'm highlighting this game is, you know, I start this game off, my cunning plan is that I'm going to go set up shop with my bow pointed to A, somewhere on one of those sides of the island. You see the island in H2 on the map down there? That's my goal. I want to get to that island and probably be on the north side of it with my bow pointed into A with my radar, looking for one of these smoke cruisers or one of these destroyers to cover that cap. But what's going to happen is that I get so fixated on this plan, and I make the faulty assumption that my friendly battleships will back me up, that I'm going to find myself in a bit of a pickle. So just stay frosty, and I'll point out a couple of places where I should have chosen differently along the way. This is pretty good matchmaking for us. We are top tier. There is an enemy top tier carrier, but Baltimore's AA, particularly with defensive fire, is pretty solid. Like she'll swallow up planes pretty good here. So I'll get the chance to use that at some point over the course of the game. You know, starting here early, I elect to opt way down the one line. I don't want to get spotted. I don't want to get take too much early damage or get lit up before the enemy has any idea that I'm here. Starting to make the turn here, I initially think I might set up, you know, well back here on the south side of this little island. But I'm like, no, I really want to be on the north side of the other one so that my radar covers the entirety of the A cap. I've got a Gneisenau now off my port flank. He's in front of me. And you know, you can see there's an enemy Edinburgh up there. And he's not, I think, has he come into the cap? I don't know. But this enemy Gneisenau on his port side is going to be the one that I'm going to have to start dealing with here in a minute. Got the AP loaded. I'm waiting for this Edinburgh to turn. I'm just looking. I'm waiting. I'm thinking, surely he's going to turn. Surely he's going to turn. Surely he's going to turn. He's not going to turn. He's way too close to that island now, so I just go ahead and take the shot. So right here, this is the moment that I screw up, right? Under no circumstances should I have decided that I'm going to sit bow in here with a Gneisenau coming at me. Because the enemy Gneisenau is doing something that I did not expect. He's continuing to drive forward. My Gneisenau has done something I did not expect. He has taken himself completely out of the action to the point where right now he has absolutely nothing to shoot at. And the enemy my friendly Colorado back on the one line is my only other backup, and he is just not very effective. That Gneisenau is bow on to him, and yeah. So, a couple of things I want to point out here in this engagement. One is, I can actually bow tank a Gneisenau in this ship relatively decently, okay? I have enough bow armor, 27mm if memory serves, on the Baltimore, that I can bounce these 15-inch AP shells as they come in. And you see me kind of doing some of that here. Now, he's also firing some HE at me. The first salvo was HE. I definitely don't want to see that, right? His HE will probably full pen me and make a mess, okay? Plus his secondaries, plus his torpedoes. This Gneisenau is absolutely doing the right thing by just charging me. And I've absolutely done the wrong thing by accepting this engagement. So I started off with one mistake. I went bow into the guy. Now I've made another one. I'm continuing to fight him. This island off my starboard side, I could have wrapped around that and gotten a better angle, gotten some better cover, but I didn't. I sat out here in the open and fought this guy. I kept thinking, oh, my super heavy AP is going to start messing him up any day now, any day now. Still waiting, still looking for that salvo. Still looking for that salvo. Now, you saw him take a little jaunt there to port He did fire his, I'm sorry, hit his starboard. He did get his torpedoes into the water. I'm constantly expecting those torpedoes to show up. I know they're out here. I know they're going to come eventually. And I keep thinking to myself, all right, I've just got to be ready so that I can dodge them. And I was ready, and I still failed to dodge them. Finally, I get a little bit of help from some of my battleships. You see now both of my battleships playing behind islands on this cap circle, because that's what battleships do in World of Warships. They sit behind islands where they can't shoot at anything. Like, anyway, that's a whole rant I could go on. But I have not, you know, we're barely now 5 minutes into this game, and look at me. Like, the majority of my health is gone because I was stupid enough to accept an engagement with this Gneisenau who charged me, got up in my face, lit me on fire, flooded me for a while, torped me, and here I am going to end this whole shebang on about 4,500 HP. Well, that was an eventful 6 minutes. Luckily for me, my game is not over. The bad news is that I'm going to have to make some very interesting decisions from this point forward. For starters, look at the minimap. The entire enemy team, and I do mean the entire enemy team, has come to the A cap. So among the other mistakes that I made early was picking the wrong cap, where the entire enemy team is all right here. Like, well, that was stupid. How did I pull that off, right? My team up north, to their credit, is doing a really good job of pushing, right? They've gone up, they've bagged C, they're pushing through the middle of the board now. The enemy Benson is the only ship that's kind of lurking around the B cap, and my carrier and several of the cruisers and everything are kind of up there harassing him. But I basically have to run, right? I can't sit here. I can't take these Gneiss shells. I can't take any fire, right? 4,500 HP, something looks at me funny, I'm going to go off the board. So it's time for me to be somewhere else. I retreat all the way back to the 1 line, and my goal now is to pull back, preserve my points on the board, because if I die, that's points for the enemy team. So the longer I live, the better. And my goal here is to look for shots of opportunity and not get spotted. Now, with a carrier in the game, that last part might be a little interesting. But if I play far enough back, or if I play in areas where the carrier is not interested in being, or it's not useful for him to be, then that might last. So it's going to get quiet here for a little bit as I run north. Once again, I'm looking for shots on that Edinburgh. I thought I was going to get him. I did get one really good salvo of the AP into him, but I didn't quite finish the deal off. And so, yeah. Enemy bags their second kill. We're still only on the 1 kill. That suicidal Gneisenau that just never stopped pressing W so far is our only kill of the match. Enemy Benson looking pretty rough, and we see our Lexington out there spotting him, and he's taking fire, but he is still in the game. I'm just looking for a target, right? I'm like, what can I shoot at that won't get me dead? Because theoretically, right now, anything that spots me ought to be able to kill me. So I have to be very, very careful of when I choose to open fire, what angles I show to my enemy, the enemy ships, and just how am I going to play this going forward. Now, I do kind of latch on to this Budione. The idea of this Budione, or even that Leander, coming around the corner where I can see them and get clean shots at them, has a lot of appeal right now. But at the moment, neither one of them is obliging me. 8 minutes gone. We're up about 100 points. I'm sorry, we're down about 100 points. We're up a cap, but down 2 ships, which is never a comfortable place to be. So there we go. The Budione finally does come around the island, and I decide to accept this engagement. And at the end, by the time these shells land, I'm pretty happy with that result. Nice solid hit. I wipe out just about half of his HP, and he doesn't actually get anything onto me in return. Not notable anyway. Nope, he still didn't hit those. Enemy Edinburgh comes back into the cap, and I want that engagement as well. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing these shells land. Well, some full pens. Bunch of overpins, actually, but not the sits I was looking for. He steals 1,000 HP there. And we do finally bag him right as he starts to slow down and smoke up in the cap. So it took a while, but I did finally bag myself a kill. American Piercing strikes again. Now, if you look at the minimap, you'll see there's an enemy Talon back on the 8 line, kind of squaring off against our Baltimore. He's got a Pensacola, our friendly Pensacola, right up there off my bow, kind of headed in that direction. Then I decide, all right, the farther I am away from this clump of ships, these battleships down here, the more likely I am to live. So I'm going to go back up my teammates, and I'm going to push kind of due east here along the DE line. I want to go help them deal with this Talon. We've moved out to a lead again based on that quick Bodioni kill and the cap advantage that we have, which is always a nice thing. Whenever I see teams do this, right? Like I remember watching this game. I'm just marveling at the enemy team. The entire enemy team. Look at them. They're all on the I line, basically, right? The Benson is just now popping up in the cap circle, but basically every other, like all of their battleships. There's a Colorado, a Gneiss, a Leander, a Bodioni, an Ismail, and an Agato, and they're all basically, half their team is like all in the same couple of squares. Whenever I see teams do this in randoms, my eyes roll on my head. I don't understand it. I don't understand it every single time I see it. I don't get it. Why are you doing this? So, I mean, I'm finally in range to try and assist the engagement with this enemy Talon, who has won his duel with our friendly Baltimore because the Baltimore basically gave him the perfect shot, and the Talon made him pay for it. Now, the Talon didn't get off scot-free. He's quite low as well. But basically, it's up to me and this Pensacola to get up here and finish this guy off. Friendly Lexington is trying to chip in a little bit. You see he's bringing torpedo bombers in. So we're all trying to help here. And the Talon, now that I'm spotted, is like, dude, you only have 3,500 HP. I'm going to kill you. So he's firing his stern turrets at me. I'm firing my bow turrets at him. But the trick is that he's firing AP. Most of those shells are either missing or bouncing. I've swapped to the HE just trying to get anything to stick to this guy. And between his maneuvering and my shell flight time, I am just getting absolutely nothing. He does get a little chip damage there. I'm down to 2,500 HP. But I've lived a lot longer than I figured I would when I went down. You know, I was 6 minutes into this game. I was basically dead already. Here I am, what, 6 minutes later, still in the game, still ticking. Friendly Pensacola does finally bag him as our carrier spots an incoming anchorage. And the enemy Shokaku has decided it's time to finish me off. So, pop my defensive fire and just tell him that no, we're having none of that. You can take your squadron of dive bombers and fighters and get rid of them. I've had enough of you. Remember, guys, AA, totally ineffective in this game. Absolutely 100% ineffective. Now, I land some pens on the enemy anchorage, but it's not an amazing hit. And at this point, I'm kind of trying to remember, all right, anchorage is like, what's his... My detection is right at 9.9. I'm like, what is his? His is like 10.5 or 10.6. So I know I outspot him just a little bit. So at this point, I'm continuing east, banking on the detection, that little bit of detection advantage to get me the initial salvo that I need. But then the enemy carrier decides he wants to come play. So I do outspot the anchorage. Here's the salvo I was looking for. Unfortunately, I do not get as much out of it as I wanted. It's not a bad hit. He can't heal any of that back, but it's not the hit that I wanted. He comes back in with some AP salvos of his own that don't land as the enemy carrier brings in some torpedo bombers for me. I swap to the HE since I'm getting a bow angle on this Lexington, but the enemy carrier does not do a great job of this drop. He drops way, way far back. And I'm not sure exactly where he's going there. Enemy anchorage taking some shots here, burning, taking a little bit of battleship fire, realizing he's not going to be able to... This is not a great engagement for him, but he apparently completely forgets that I have radar. He's inside my radar range. My radar range is 10 kilometers, and, well, sealed that deal at least. We're now up one... You know, we're still down a ship in kills, but up on caps as we work out to about a 170-point lead here with 5 minutes to play. Me and this Pensacola are back here trying to provide a little support to each other. I feel like my position's a little better. The enemy carrier knows we're both low, knows we're both back here, but I'm a little closer to our Lexington, and Lexington's AA is nothing to sneeze at. The enemy team, if you look on the minimap, has slowly crawled up the 1 line. I've never seen a team do this. On this map, when you spawn in the southeastern corner, you spawn in like H7, H8, that kind of area. What are you doing on the one line? This is some of the most bizarre play I've ever seen in a team come out of on Shards. Friendly Pensacola going out right there. Rockets stealing that last 700 HP. Once you get low enough in an enemy cruiser, in a friendly cruiser, it's almost impossible to survive, right? Sooner or later, the carrier is going to grab those rockets and polish you off. And that's honestly what I'm expecting him to do to me. That's one of the reasons I popped the defensive fire there. Yes, I was trying to cover the Pensacola a little bit, but I was also kind of trying to plan for the future. Every rocket plane I can kill now is a rocket plane I don't have to deal with in 2 or 3 minutes, right? Because he hasn't regen them that quickly. So kill more now, live longer later. 4 minutes to play. We're trying to protect our lead. I'm trying to protect my last little sliver of health that I've been playing most of this game on. 10 minutes now. I've been down around, 4,500 HP, now down to 2,500, still alive, still in the game. I decide I'm going to move out to the 8 line, use this island as a little bit of cover from anybody that might spot me in the middle of the map, and push south. Now, I don't really know what I'm going to find. I can see on the mini-map now they are capping B, so I know the enemy Benson is in that cap somewhere. Given our Bayern and Albemarle position, it's safe to assume that he's on the south side of that cap somewhere. So my first thought is I'm going to push straight down the 8 line, sneak over just far enough to get that bottom end of the cap into radar range, and try to polish off that Benson, because we know he's low, right? We saw him earlier on half HP. Presumably he's taken a little more damage since then, and we'll have to go check that out. I apologize that my regular mod setup is not working. I could not get replays to record this week with mods enabled at all. I've been having 19 kinds of hell with the replay system. We do spot the enemy Benson. Well, actually, the friendly Albemarle is the one that spots the Benson, but inexplicably never fires at him. I haven't figured this one out. Fires his torpedoes instead. The Benson is going to bag this cap and come out right here in front of me, where I am able to start ending his game. Takes a few shells there. He's going to turn. He takes a rocket strike. I get one more salvo downrange. He realizes he can actually win a gunfight with me, but unfortunately, you can't win gunfights when you're dead. Enemy carrier has finally brought back a rocket strike, but you see there it's badly under strength. He's only got about 4 planes, and none of them survive to drop. Enemy Colorado thinks I'm tasty. I'm having to. This is one of those. This is butt-puckering moments you have at a cruiser where you see the shells coming in, and you breathe a little easier. As my team will clean up one last ship way over on the 1 line. There we go. The enemy Leander dies, and we manage to survive to the end of the game. So a couple of things I wanted to point out. Just one of the reasons I'm talking through this replay is one, highlighting a dumb mistake I made early in this game, which is slavish adherence to my original plan, okay? There are times you see teams do this in clan battles or King of the Sea, and it happens to me, it happens to players in random battles as well. You start a game with a tactical plan, and when the enemy has clearly blown that plan up, sometimes you just get so focused on it, you're like, I forgot to not die. I forgot to suck less, right? That happens, okay? So when you start a game, load in, develop a quick tactical plan. Where do I want to go? What do I want to do? How do I want to execute? But when the enemy starts mucking with your plan, change, That's one of the reasons I got into so much trouble early. I could not see past my initial plan in time to realize this Gneisenau was going to crush me. Second, once you're in trouble on low HP in any game, and certainly in a random battle, try not to suicide. I mean, you saw how long I lived, how effective I was after I was essentially taken out of the game and on incredibly low HP. And this is really a tip mostly for cruiser players. If you're a battleship, there's only so much you can do, right? You're not as maneuverable, you're certainly more detectable. But as a cruiser player, you have a lot of options of places you can go, places you can be. Certainly if you've got enough AA defense to send the enemy carrier looking elsewhere, he may not come hunting for you on low HP, because I got a significant chunk of my damage and several kills after I went way, way, way down on HP because of my own stupid decisions. Anyway, guys, I like highlighting a replay like this because to me it highlights that cruiser play, I should say, is fun and dynamic, but it's easy to make mistakes. It's tougher to recover from those mistakes. But if you keep your head about you, you can still have an impact in a game. Even in a game where you die, if you trade well, you can have an impact in a cruiser, certainly in a heavy cruiser. Anyway, guys, I'll shut up now. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that one. Be safe out there, and I'll catch you next time.